So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:45. Meeting of the White Lake Township Library Board of Trustees. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
President Jennifer Schultz,
Here.
Vice President Richard McGlue,
Here.
Secretary Karen Wines, here, Treasurer Gwendolyn Newton,
Here.
Trustee Eric Shotwell,
Here.
and Trustee Carrie Francis.
Here.
We also have Director April Stevenson and Assistant Director Amy Rosen in attendance.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Public comment? Do we have any public today? Okay. Moving on, presentations. Any presentations today? No presentations. So we'll move on to the review of the minutes of the last meeting. The meeting minutes are in front of you. Any comments or questions? Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Oh, okay. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Moving right along, President's report.
I do not have a president's report this week or this month.
Okay, and I have no Vice President's report today.
I have no secretary's report.
So now we're on to me.
You bet.
Yeah.
Treasurer's report.
Okay.
Here we go.
So, I have a question for April. So this, is this the new, thank you. So, our accountant has gone to QuickBooks Online. And so things are gonna look a little bit different. I looked through this today and really didn't have any issues that I can see with it, but if anything looks different to you, I need to look at it closer, but I'm gonna have to sit down and compare report to report, because it looked fine to me.
I did like the bold. There's some
For sure,
kind of bolds and things.
but all the categories still line up. You know, the cash disbursement page is obviously a little different, right? If you look, usually it's just on a couple pages, it's several pages long at this point with the check detail, right? So, I don't, Joe and April and I are gonna sit down and review the report, the financial report, and see if there's anything that we would like to have different. Okay, so.
I would call one thing that I did want to see that's different, and I'll call your attention to it, and that's gonna be on page 3 out of 3. Revenue and expenditure budget versus actual years paid under 94 voting and improvements. It's listing $30,453.06. And actually, what's going on there, because they're talking to the accountant, because it's showing basically that the full cost of the door fobs is accounted for, but if you go into QuickBooks, there's still of 11,000 of that that check has not gone out because the project's not quite done yet.
Okay.
So really, that amount shouldn't be 30, it should be $19,295.80.
So this 30 was what that overall cost was.
Yeah, so that's part of
Okay.
that. So Yeah, so I just wanna draw your attention to that because I
Yeah.
do wanna get to him and say, you know, I really don't like, wanna see actual, if the check has not gone out, I shouldn't see it as being counted in the report.
I got it.
So I don't know why. I mean, if you go into QuickBooks, you can see, it doesn't say paid. In fact, there's no check number for it, but it's listed there and I don't, that's fine for me to look at it here, but when it's coming to you as a board, you're
Right.
looking at that saying, oh, okay, that's done. Well, no,
It's not done.
it's not done.
Okay.
I wonder if it's a accrual basis that but in which case, we would have had to say that this expense has been incurred.
Right, which it hasn't been fully included in.
Well, we may be,
It's assigned. I mean,
Yeah.
that's for sure,
Yeah.
but it's, anyways, I just wanted to draw your attention to it. Say it.
Yeah, well, and looking at this, and just looking at 984. Unless people go back and look for that specific amount, right, and what we were gonna do for the key fobs. I don't think most would know that that's what that number is, right? But. The auditors may notice the difference. So, and the other thing that I just wanted to call people's attention that we talked about in the finance committee too. I don't know if it's. Is just the amount of interest that we've, been able to take advantage of this year. So, where's. I gotta see if that interest is on. It is. If you look at one of three, for it says a statement of governmental revenues and expenditures. It's right past the investment page. That's the big investment page. It's right after that. And we had, for interest. We had projected, that doesn't look right.
20, said 20.
budget, are you looking at budget versus actual?
Yeah, okay, so, or if you look at revenue expenditures budget versus actual, and it's it's 665. We had estimated that we were gonna bring in about $20,000 in interest this year, and to date, and this is just through May, we've done 36,000, so we're like 16,000 over that. I don't remember exactly what I calculated, but I think we're gonna have at least another like 20,000. So I just want to bring it to people's attention that the CDs have done really, really well this year. But as I'm looking at CDs over the last few days, we've been very lucky and we've had like 5% interest rates or more. And the interest rates aren't that high right now. They're under 5. So we're hoping to, bring in another like $20,000 in interest this year, and we may well, but it's a lot more than we anticipated because interest has stayed so high. So it's been a good thing. Any other questions?
I do, in regard to the next CD, which is due August 15th, what are your thoughts on?
I thought it was September.
I'm seeing in August and in September.
Oh, yeah, flags are,
Like, so, yeah. August
Oh.
15th.
You know what? I apologize. So shoot, I wasn't prepared to talk about that today, and I really always want to do it 2 months out. I'm gonna have to present that next month. Well, because I think we'd already made a decision on a previous in a previous meeting, we made a decision on what we were gonna do with each one of these. And I don't have that with me. I thought we actually made a decision, April, on what we were doing going forward for these for the entire year.
That sounds familiar.
I'm almost positive we did, and, Karen, can you,
I can try.
thank you.
Do
I'm,
you have an idea
I'm-
of when?
pardon?
I can try to, I can see that.
I'm thinking that we made that decision, what we were gonna do throughout the year. And I'm thinking we did it in March or April.
Okay.
So I don't want
So
to,
this was a 6-month,
this was a
investment.
6-month, and I think we were going to actually, but I'm almost positive we made a decision as a board what we were gonna do going forward for all of them.
yeah, I think my recollection, which is suspect, was we did a 6-month there so that we would take that into cash, so that was to cover.
And I
bills.
think, and I actually think you're right,
I think so too.
Okay, it's not March.
Yeah.
What did you say? Maybe April?
could have been April,
I'm thinking it may have been earlier than that,
you think February?
because, yeah.
Because we
in
had some that
February-
were due in February,
So in January, we would probably.
sorry, Karen,
That's all right.
Yeah.
I haven't.
but
got it
I
opened
do
yet,
think
so-
Rich is right.
So you
that-
think check February?
Because,
No, earlier, February, I mean, January.
Oh, okay.
because we may, I'm almost positive this is meant to go into,
You said you have January up? Okay,
I think it's almost meant to go into cash.
I'll pull up
It,
February.
because otherwise, because we weren't gonna have any money until September,
Oh, yeah, that,
right? Any more coming in September. So I think those two are intended to go into cash. The one that's in August and the one that's in September.
anything there either. Did you say you're on January?
January.
Yeah, I've got February open. That's not in February.
Yeah, because
I think we talked about it, but what I'm seeing as far as, and I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm just seeing in the meeting minutes, we're doing more of like specific to certain
Yeah.
CDs.
Yeah.
and What,
But we had a conversation about what we were gonna do with all of them for the year.
I don't, yeah, but I think we probably didn't.
I just don't know that it was.
right.
Yeah, if it wasn't, if a motion wasn't
There was
made.
a logic for
Okay,
why we
all
were
right,
doing it
sure.
this way versus.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And of course, I don't have my notes with me. So, but we have the cash on hand that we have today, April. At the end of May, what do we have now at the end of June? Can you look?
We had 633 as of June 25th. The last day from the packet.
6. Give me one moment, I want to do some math. What'd you say, Rich? 6?
Yeah, 633.
All right, so that's gonna take us through the next like 4 months.
Yep.
Okay. So,
So those should probably come into.
yeah, so I am actually gonna make a motion.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I have, what I'm seeing.
Okay, all right, so thank you for bringing that up because I kept looking at September. So I am going to. make a motion, and Karen, correct me if I'm making this motion incorrectly. I'm gonna make two motions. First, I'm gonna
Okay.
make a motion to, accept to accept the bills for payment as presented.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay. And then I'm going,
Nope, we gotta vote.
sorry, sorry.
So any discussion? Or, well, so you made the motion, is there a second?
I second.
There's
it.
a second.
Yeah.
Okay,
'cause
any
it's already on my
discussion?
paper.
If not, do all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know how we missed this too in the finance committee. So, okay,
And it's today, and I was like, oh,
so,
Okay, next one.
okay, and then I am going to make a motion that the Flagstar the Flagstar CDR of $200,000 plus the interest that it earns when it expires on in August, that it be transferred to our sweep account at Flagstar.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Sweep account at Flagstar.
Flagstar.
Okay,
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
aye,
All opposed?
carry.
The ayes have it.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing that up, April.
Anything else on the treasurer's side?
I'm done.
Thank you. So we are now on to the committee report. Finance Committee is up first.
No, we're at
Read
director's
the
report.
director's report. Then we're at the.
There we can do that. Director's report, please.
Yes, so the auditor came and visited. It was a one-day visit this time, so that was very, very nice. Always a joy to see Julie. She's just a very sweet person. And very helpful with answering our questions, because both Glenn and I, she's gracious enough to meet with us and answer all of our questions. And I also have sent her a few things that I'm having them look into as well. Our MMRMA reached out to us because apparently every 5 years, they send out an appraiser to check things over and do a site visit, and so that went well. And they were out here, it went super quick, and that was good. We'll see.
What is the NMRMA?
Our property insurance.
Okay, sure, okay.
Moving on, Cirque Services has been doing a lot of shifting and cleaning of all of the adult fiction and our DVD Blu-ray shelves. It's always an ongoing thing, making things look nice for everyone. Communications and marketing, our social media engagement was up 8.66%, 33 new followers. We're reaching quite a few people, and so hopefully they're not just given the old 3-second read through, but hey, at least they're seeing it. 47 new constant contact subscribers since May. We also now do, Heather implemented a welcome email. So when that email goes through, when she puts that through there, it triggers a welcome email, which gives them an idea of all of the different, welcome. And thank you for joining us.
Nice.
Google reviews, very thankful for the patrons that do that, 3 5 stars. And just grateful for the staff, because they are the ones that really make that happen. It's 99% of the time it is, you know, like they say here, always pleasant, or often, you know, it's oftentimes also the friends too. So just big, huge thank you to staff and to friends, because they really make those 5 stars happen. Heather's quite the busy young lady with her webinars, and she's just always working on her professional development. For me, not too much this month. As you know, I did have the vacation in May, and then coming up with my husband's surgery. He's doing well, thanks very much. But did attend parent newcomer night at Oak Valley Middle School. And this was for quite a few families that are English as their second language. And so that was a joy to attend, and they were very happy we actually came. We were the only library that actually had a presence there. Some of the other libraries had sent their material, but they didn't have an actual building.
Which- That school doesn't even, isn't really White Lake,
There is some White Lake. that goes
is
in.
there?
Yes,
It's Huron Valley.
I know, but
Mhm.
it's more commerce.
that corner.
There are, yeah, there are
There's a corner,
some.
looks a corner.
And I was a little bit, it was a personal thing for me because my youngest went there and, I know he had quite a few actually some White Lake friends that he's still with, so yay, Oak Valley. So that was fun. Various committee meetings as usual. Facilities, our family bathroom, so if you'll notice sometimes in the bathrooms, the lights are just a little slower than people like them to be to pop on when they notice any motion. And so sometimes they have a tendency to smack it on, and so we had an issue with that, and Nate was able to fix that for us. We're looking into a little clear plastic cover to see if we can't stop people from just let it come on. And so. Our public sanitizing stations, I don't know if you noticed this, but they were the sanitizing material that was in them was very sticky. So when guys used it,
So sticky's good.
and then when it would drip, it would become like rubber glue stand, which
Yeah.
was very difficult to clean. And so we switched it out for kind of a hospital style foam. And so that seems to be much better now, thank goodness. Bathroom tiling project, as I said, is complete. I'm just waiting on the invoice for that. I do know how much it is. It's okay. The front lobby monitor, as part of the Friends contribution list is to get 3 new monitors. So one of those is the one that is out in the lobby there. And we went ahead and turned that so it faced people as they walk in the building. So it's
Yeah.
a kind of a wow factor, like that's coming up, look what's coming up. Oh my gosh, you have a concert series, you have this. So it's gonna be real main headline type of information. And so I hope you like it. I kind of like it.
I really like it. You know, if you walk in the other way, you never saw the monitor. You had to pick one.
Yeah, you usually saw it on the way out.
Unless you walked out.
And then you were focused on the door.
Yeah,
At least I
But
was.
seeing it when you come in makes you stop.
Yeah.
If you know, as opposed to walking by, because then it's just in your peripheral.
And I actually have had a couple of people stop and say, they actually now kind of noticed the map of the building as well. Because it
on
kind of
the other side,
makes them
yeah.
kind of look at it, like, oh, it's on the other side. Well, map.
Mhm.
You know, it's summer, we're having our usual HVAC issues, so we've had Johnson Controls and Goyette out a couple of times to deal with that. Luckily, our facilities specialists can do a lot of it, but it does it's one of those things I think in the fall I'm going to be reassessing whether we go with both. Because at one point Johnson Controls came out and was working on the software portion of it and said, well, now you got to call Goyette for the mechanical. Well, all right. I got to kind of look at that. I'm not really.
Well, what's our warranty say? Do you know how long our warranty is?
We basically pay for more of a like to keep it going. So like it's not so much repair and fix, it's more or less like we'll come out and we will give you 8 hours of checking it over and replacing things then, but it's not for the kind of things that are actually going on. And so it's really made me start to look at the contract that would be coming up in the fall and say, do we need this? Is this necessary? Because we're still facing the same issues each time. A number of the RTUs need to constantly be repowered up. Or you get a situation where you have to go in and they can go in remotely and they can fix it on the software, but then you still need to reboot that RTU, so it's just not. I don't like the communication
Mhm.
between, because Goyette will come here and they'll start to work on something, this happened last year, they start to work on something on the software. And then Johnson will say, well, and they're not available when Goyette's here, because sort of call and communicate. So I'm just getting a little tiny bit extra.
So is there somebody we can go with that would be able to cover both?
Johnson can cover both,
Okay,
but right now, the way it's structured, they're not
and our contract
Right.
is over in,
the ball.
are they an annual contract at this point? Okay, all right. Yeah,
So I'm gonna be reluctant at that.
for sure.
It's either just too hot or it's just too cold. In the summer. Okay.
I agree.
And that's outdoors.
Yeah, but I have been in here and dealt with both ways
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, yep. Okay, so Friends, June book sale, as they just keep having record breakers.
Yes,
Wow.
fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
They're just amazing.
Which is amazing because of the construction. People don't even think people still don't think the library is open.
And now we have the sign up on that.
Yeah,
Yes,
and they
which is
still
very
have
nice,
Yeah.
and it is pretty obvious.
Position finally.
Yes.
Yeah.
came through.
It's on 59, right? Yeah.
It's
It's a
blocking half of. the-
library open during construction.
Right,
Yeah.
but people
It's sort
still
of
are
hard to
asking.
get around the corner.
Yeah,
Yes.
people still are asking.
My wife said that she had to be.
Yeah, see?
Oh my gosh.
Even people who know, don't know, so I was amazed at that, working it, that there were so many people.
Friends, next quarterly meeting is Tuesday, July 16th. It is in the evening, so if you can be there, please do. They supported our yard sign, so, and I think all of you keep your yard sign.
I had a
Speaking of that,
comment on that. Do you think, I mean, it doesn't say anything on there about a millage or money or anything else, but do you think people are going to think that's what's going on just because of the timing of it, that we're putting them up now?
I don't think so, because
Okay.
it's not saying, there's nothing that says vote, the color scheme is just ours. It's not, and that's specifically why we went and had the heart on there and our logo. I mean, I don't know, if people are gonna buy it super fast.
Yeah.
They're gonna do a double take, but
Nobody's called or anything?
nobody's called
Okay.
and asked for anything.
I was just thinking
Yeah.
about that,
No.
as I saw other signs populating.
It's that.
Yeah, okay.
But it is the time of year where, they've got the grad signs out. Now I'm even
Right,
seeing them
right.
for the middle
That's
school
true.
students and stuff, so it is more. Except it's an election year, so all those other ones are out, but other than that, I see it as, oh, so-and-so's graduating from where? And now they're coming out of middle school and they've got a sign.
I know,
Yeah.
the middle school ones that are
Which
sort of
is great
surprising, right?
because it is such an easy fundraiser,
Yes.
those signs. They are such an easy fundraiser for the school.
We have 3, when I was leaving my neighborhood today, including mine, there was 2 new I love my library signs on the street that I was leaving. So I know I have somebody that actually came in here and wanted to pick theirs up the day before they were available and was told no. And so,
They're all available now.
I was gonna ask if we're done at a decent time, maybe I could take that one with me.
I haven't got mine. The next one.
Yeah, I didn't get one either.
Mine is out with, well, I sent you pictures of Leo standing next to, I love my library. Yes. And he loved their, the little display, the, photo op here. And so, before we left, he actually had the, I love my library and sat next to it for his photo op. So my 3-year-old grandson, he thought it was a big deal.
Mhm.
So, yes,
They had 10 years. to do
So
football.
there's-
Good.
there's Leo. Cute. And he had to hold the red, white, and blue flowers.
Yes, because they have all the
Yes.
fun things.
Oh,
that
yes.
section up there.
And then this is him after he planted it. So, yes, it was, so
Nice.
he's very proud of his I love my library sign. For some reason, he thinks it's his.
Those photo ops are so popular.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're
They
great.
are.
Big thank you to the lady.
Yes, they do a fabulous job. The kids all love them.
Okay, so planning continues for the Friends for their October fifth. I'm gonna repeat that again, October fifth, murder mystery dinner. Don't miss out on that, more to come on that one. And again, new friend members are always welcome. Membership fees are due in September. However, those applying for membership this summer will receive 3 months of free membership with their dues paid through August of 2025. Okay, adult services, big thank you to Amy and Emily applying for the LSTA grant to receive English language arts ESL adult literacy material with high-low content. We're excited about that, and that will come off the heels, hopefully, if we get that, of also receiving that Dollar General $1,000 for adult literacy. So making a way to help those struggling with that issue in our community.
Do we know when that's gonna be awarded?
That's like August, end of August.
Okay,
What is high-low?
So high interest,
low,
Low,
level.
low, okay,
Usually topical items written at a lower reading level.
okay.
mhm.
We've had several mobile app vendor presentations, My Libro, Innovative, and TLC. So we are just kind of finishing up mobile app presentations. Youth and Teen Services, Emily is running for chair-elect of the Teen Services Committee. She's a shoo-in, I know she's gonna get it. And she has also been placed on the MLA Annual Conference Planning Team.
Oh, wow.
And so we'll be excited to see how that goes. That would be for 2025. Lots of school visits, and those we were not able to get to, they are sharing on flyers and our promo video for students. Landscapers got together, well, I should say, Don and I got together. And we went and picked out some flowers for around the digital sign area. And then we did a quick review meeting of the property. And, you know, it's basically at this point, it's just a lot of meeting and just kind of keeping up with that. Unfortunately, today, it's not in the report, but today we had Progressive out to open the sprinklers, and they went to go open the sprinklers, and the tarp the black tarp that, I forget what they call that, it's the wind dirt stopper, punctured the main sprinkler line, and luckily, when they installed it, which was it's been a while now. Luckily at that time, we had not opened our sprinklers, so we didn't lose a ton of water, yay. I have reached out to the township to let them know that that has occurred. That spring line had busted through that, and so this is the second summer in a row that our sprinklers were popped through.
So I'm
that has
assuming
to
that
be
they're going to
fixed.
take care of
We talked with
the
them,
repair.
like they did last year, they did fix it
Okay.
last year. Yes.
Oh, I thought you were done.
No, I actually am.
Oh, okay. I had a question on the flowers.
Mhm.
Last year, I had given feedback not to do red again.
I don't think we did. Brett.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had asked that they would just be a little more harmonious with the bronzy, yellowy, goldy scheme. Okay,
We did like white and.
that would work. Okay. All righty.
I don't really know the names of any types of flowers fairly, except petunias. Because I dragged Don along and he was more than happy to.
Okay.
And
And if anyone else wants to.
can I ask where you went?
Both.
Thank you for supporting our local vendors.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like bogey. I also get my vegetable there, so, the plant, so they do a good job.
Okay.
So shout
And
out to them.
they're very generous.
Very nice.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's that. Of course, we added our virtual tour to the website. Let me just back up here. Staff anniversaries. Big thank you to Lois, our substitute librarian for 17 years.
Wow.
Thank you to Lois and Maria, 5 years.
That was.
That is bad. That was.
That's
good.
Did it start on Tuesday?
Oh, my gosh. And they both do a fabulous job. Fabulous. I get so many people that say to me how much they really, like, wow, we're in the library going, Maria reference, she is so fun. She's so nice. Yes. And with some of the people I know that talk to her, yes, she has to be. I'm very proud of her.
I don't know if people like in the public know this, that they can call the library and schedule a time one-on-one with the librarian, which I did this week with Maria to do Canva for a friends thing. And like, you get this personal assistance that you can't get very many places. So that's the thing that,
Yes,
just so that people know that, whoever is watching us.
she's very, very good too when people have problems even with their phone. Their
Yes.
Apple phone, their Android phone. I've seen her and been here many times when she has an elderly person that she's helping, take care of a phone issue.
And all of our librarians are trained to.
Yeah.
They do a great job.
They
so.
do.
I've had other
Thank you,
ones that
Donna.
I've gotten an appointment with too. It's just a great way to get something done.
And then again, we're almost there with fob access. I think, knock on wood, we'll be debuting that with staff on Monday. And then, we do continue to work with our website provider on those accessibility, making sure that we're, in line. We do have 3 years, but we're already working on that.
Awesome.
Is that it for the,
And then, if you have any questions on this?
Oh,
No, I'm good.
oh, they're good.
okay. So committee reports, finance committee?
That's me. So we met last week. The finance committee consists of April and Jen and Carrie and I. So, April went through the budget with us and we're currently averaging slightly below our spending for the year. Some of that's due to, well, there's several things, but one of them is also, staffing. There's some staffing that, that hasn't taken place yet, so, and then the audit was completed, as, April said, it was only 1 day. And then the documents was shared with the accountant for review. We had one thing that, is they gave us a comment that we had more money, about $170,000 that was in Flagstar in between the savings and the CDs that brought us over that, that $250,000 threshold. Fortunately, it wasn't really an issue but if there had been something that happened at the end of the year, it could have, potentially could have been an issue, so, so we have to just look at that, make sure that we keep track of that the CDs. Because then I went back and I did look in CDs and savings, time deposits and savings are considered the same. So technically we were not supposed to have more than $250,000 at any given bank. So we try to make sure that happens in the CDs, but I didn't probably take into account that also the savings account. So we were a little over and luckily things were fine. But that is one of the reasons too, that we always keep that money going at Chase, is that if something ever happened at Flagstar, we could pick up right away and still continue to do business and cover, at least 2, possibly 3 months of, expenses with what we have at Flagstar, at what we have at Chase today. Okay, and so then the policy, committee updated, well, who's gonna talk about policy? Okay. So we have some, we'll talk about fund balance in the policy committee. And then before the end of the year, there's finance policies that are needed for the auditor. And one is an investment policy. We have a comment in in the financial policy, but it's very brief. And then there's an interest rate risk policy and a custodial credit risk policy that are both probably things that we should have in our finance policy that are very standard to the state for libraries. So we've just got to pull that up. And we were looking at it, April and I were looking at it briefly. There's quite a bit in that custodial credit risk policy, which includes like bond. And we're not bonded, we don't have a credit rating, right? So because, because we don't have a credit rating and we probably, I don't know if we ever would, right? So like the township has a credit rating, but this would be for us if we were gonna issue bonds.
Phil's response when I emailed him was he thought the same, that it wouldn't be us.
It would be the township,
Yeah.
right?
Township,
And that's what that custodial credit risk is about.
yeah,
Because they issued our bonds on this building.
yeah.
Right,
I
they
think-
did.
I don't think we can't issue bonds in our
That's correct.
configuration.
Okay, and that's what I was gonna
Mhm.
ask, cause I didn't think that we could, and that's why the township did it.
Mhm.
So, I need to read further, but, so I don't know, if that's all that the custodial credit risk states, and there's a policy for the state of Michigan libraries, we may not even have to put that in there, but the auditor brought it up, but she might not realize too that we don't issue our own bonds.
Mhm.
And she's also going to, we did ask her to look into providing us 2 examples, and so she did say she was gonna look at that. If
Okay,
Is that it for,
yes,
okay, so
the,
one,
the only other thing on that one was under finance committee was to look over those staffing requests. That's why the spreadsheets are in there for you. That's not, we're gonna do it under finance committee.
I'm sorry, is that on the agenda to go do it under finance committee?
I probably, no, it.
Okay, for some reason I thought,
Last month.
for some reason I thought it was gonna be part of your report.
Mhm.
Okay, but we can,
So,
yeah, we're looking at that. So we can definitely talk about it from finance. And I'm gonna let April talk to it because they're her first staff, so. Okay,
okay, so what you're seeing there in front of you is, and I would draw your attention to the yellowish cream colored highlighted area. And that first one, where it should say, I'm just going to find it before you. There's 2 different ones. One is increase adult part-time to full-time in 2024.
Mhm.
What you're seeing as a whole of these documents is a projection for 2025. In working with the finance committee, I came to them and I said, we are struggling with keeping part-time people. And so I kind of looked at some of the numbers for currently, and currently, if we took one of our part-time people and moved them to full-time, although we'd be losing some hours, it would give us that stability that we need. So we're not constantly hiring, looking, training, etc. So this one here, what you see ahead of you, so the finance committee said, okay, show us what 2025 would look like with a 4% raise. So I added that, and I also added in, just to be transparent, what I could be asking for in addition to that for next year. I just want to be transparent that I may come to you, that's up to you whether you say yes or no. So you'll see increase adult part-time to full-time in 2024. So this is showing you what 2025 looks like with having done that. It would also show you an increase in circulation with two positions there. What I would draw your attention to next on this one, because I know it's super confusing looking at a spreadsheet, is the projected annual wages 2025 with additional hours and or staff, that column. It's gonna be
Mhm.
the 7th green box column,
Oh, got it.
okay?
So right past the fold.
Right.
Okay.
So if you look at that one, the total on that one comes to $873,811.61. Okay. If you turn to the next spreadsheet and you go to that same column, this is showing you 7 over. This is showing you as if we had simply kept, because we still have budgeted for this year to add a part-time person, so if I just did that, this is what it would show you, and again, 2025 with 4% increase. And those certain people that I'm asking for, you'll see that that column comes to 892,000. That's about a $20,000 increase to have the part-time person as it is to move to having a full-time person this year. for next year.
You're actually, when you look at this all together for 2025, you're looking at a person and a half. You're actually
Yes,
looking to
yes,
increase
yes.
by 1.5
But
people.
that's, yes, but that's, I don't wanna, I just wanted to show you in full transparency, I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. But what I'm asking for right now, to do right now, is to move one of my part-time people to full-time right now.
Okay.
So but the finance committee wanted me to show you what next year would look like with that.
Well, yeah, it is a little confusing because just the way that way it's written, but if you know, just bottom line is it's a person and a half. Because we're taking 2 part-time people and moving them to full-time.
Right, so. I'm
And then
moving
you're also adding another part-time person for next year.
Not in reference.
Not in reference,
Not in
but
library.
overall.
Overall,
I don't care which department it comes in, what works out, what we really are concerned about is where that HR expense lands in the overall financial picture, right? And, you know, we had made a commitment that it was gonna stay at under, did we say 60%?
and it still does. I
Yeah.
wanna.
And I think that was what I had said in
Yes.
finance committee too.
Below, it is
Yes.
below 60% regardless.
Right, because you know, our income's gonna go down every year with the Headley amendment. And we never want to get to a point where we're gonna have to cut services that we need for the community or cut an employee because we've spent too much in HR.
So what is the effect of this on this year's budget, 2024 budget?
It does not, we will not go over by doing that.
You won't go over what you already projected.
Correct.
Okay.
What is already budgeted for.
So the combination of having not spent on part-time and
It's definitely hard to get part-time, you know, consistent part-time people.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't take into consideration too is when we move these people to full-time, there's, well, you know.
Benefits.
The overhead expenses are, you know, we're talking about 40% of somebody's pay when you look at it all together, when, you know, because we have a very generous package for 401k. You know, I think that we have a very generous time off package. And so, and we're doing better than average on what we do for increases every year. So, you know, those actually add up. So looking at just the projected annual wages, we really have to look at what the total is, because that total is that's really what we're spending.
I also think finance committee, I'd like to come back to finance committee too to some discussions on insurance contributions. Different ways of looking at that to see how we're handling it. And get some feedback on that. There's different ways to kind of handle some of those costs.
Okay, for sure.
The thing is, though, it seems like every time we lose an employee, they've gone to another library that has a full-time position.
Well, I think that happens across the board. It is not just our library.
It's not just our
Right.
library, but
It's
there are
just-
libraries
right.
that have a lot more full-time, and they do not have that problem because their part-time people truly want to be part-time because they have enough
Right.
full-time positions.
But can we afford to have that many full-time people? That's my point. With all what we pay out for benefits. We have to have a balance. We
That's
can't,
true.
we can't go over that percentage of people, you know, our income and our expenses, we can't go over that percentage and really do justice to the community by continuing to add staff. And like I said, with the Headley amendment, every year our expenses go up and every year our revenue goes down.
But we pay a lot in training people that leave after they've been here, so that has.
Well, that would be interesting to actually
You know,
see
that-
what those statistics are, how many people that we've really trained and, you know, what that training is and what that cost of that training is. For then those people then to, you know, how long is that retention span, right? So like some training, like I know where I've worked, I have signed agreements. That if I stayed for so long, this training that was, you know, considered valuable, I'd have to sign an agreement I was gonna stay. Or I signed an agreement that I would take this specific training and if I stayed this amount of years, then I would receive this kind of, you know, incentive for staying, right? So it would be interesting, and I don't think we take those kind of statistics on what kind of training we put into people, what that true cost is, and how long those people, and are we retaining those people? So, I mean, you have a great point. So if we have part-time people that, you know, we say that we're doing, so they only might cost us, you know, in labor overall $15,000 a year, but we put another $5,000 into their training and they stay less than 18 months. Are we really recouping our costs, right, by having them be
And
part-time?
there's a lot of them that seem like they're only here about 6 months and then they found another job.
Well, you know what, and I haven't seen that in your reports about who's left,
And
right?
I think it's
Because
slowed
it
down.
did, because our
It's
former,
a little, it's, right now it's a little bit more CERC related, but, there's, I just know people are looking. What's kind of happened too is there are not quite as many positions are being posted anymore. So that's another thing. So kind of the trickle down type of theory, which was going on for a while, has kind of slowed.
okay,
So I think people have kind of landed in some of their positions, but every now and then. There they go.
it would be really interesting to know, and like, that is something that I just realized that we don't have now in our reports is when people leave. You know, usually we used to have it in the report, you know,
One next one.
okay, we've had, you know, this employee left. And now we have this opening and we hope to replace this, you know, so over like the last year.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been, and I think that, and that's a contribution, you know, that's really shows your management, and which is really great. I think people really like being here, but it would be nice to know, like, you know, Karen says, you know, we see these people turn over. Well, how often do we see that attrition? Right? So we don't have an attrition report on it. And I mean, this is a small staff, but having that attrition report would actually be really, really good. It would give us a good idea of what we're doing is investing into the employees and how much we're retaining them.
I can do that going forward, sure.
Yeah. I think that would help us too, as we're looking at staffing, you know, and what that budget is. And I think continual education for everybody in, no matter where they work, is really important. So how much do we really invest in that training?
I'd also wonder too, like, is there any cost savings when someone leaves versus the hiring expense that's there? Like, how much do they offset each other?
Yeah, for sure.
Certainly is a cost.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we want to retain people,
Mhm.
especially the really, really good ones. Thank you.
Is that,
Do we need to make a vote on this?
I don't even, I'm not sure.
So, because we're looking at moving a part-time person to full-time, Rich, this year.
it's within the, what I heard was it's within the budget,
Yes.
and it's not a change from the same, I mean, it's a shuffling,
It's not a budget
Yeah.
amendment, so it's,
yeah.
Okay.
finance committee that feels that we should probably hear from, not you talk tonight. Hear from the whole board, which I totally agree. I want to get people's opinions. So yes, whether it's a vote or whatever it is.
I don't think it needs to be due.
No, it doesn't need, let's appreciate the update.
So I'm good.
You're good.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's already right.
Okay, so that was Finance Committee. Strategic Planning Committee is up next. Let's see. We did have a meeting.
Yes, we
We
did.
did, and I can get the update on that. As you know, when I sent out the library board packet this month, I actually forgot to cut the director's for the strategic plan. So I did that on the second email. That was a heavy work packet. Anyways, yeah, strategic planning met for their quarterly meeting in June. Mainly, I let them know that I added a note section, which you do see that on here to kind of address some things that Jen made a good point. She's like, well, I don't know what a 180 is. What is that? And so it's kind of a way to say, this is what we're talking about, and that's what that is, and why we're connecting with them. So we do obviously continue to connect with them. Things are going well with schools. One of the other things that came up in that meeting, and I'm trying to see if I can remember what it was, but it was. Where? Karen, do you remember? Remember it was the one where it was like we should have done one first before we did the other one. There was one we kind of felt maybe we should apply because it didn't make quite sense. I'm trying to remember which one.
Was it? Yes,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, we did something and then we were going to
Right.
address like. We did it before we,
I can't believe it's not jumping out at me.
we did it and the next one was like identifying it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Work with partners to reach new or underserved audiences under goal 4 strategy 2, identify underserved groups to improve access and usability. So, we're working on it, so that might be a change, we might address, but the work is still being done, so either way, whether we have to flip top the numbers or put it into the other one. Okay, we're gonna look at that. Otherwise than that, you're seeing the new stuff. You'll see stuff in black if it's a continuation, as I said before. But yeah, it's going well. There wasn't any changes to any deadlines as of yet. But what we did discuss, just because there's a deadline on here, doesn't mean that work on that may not continue in some way, shape, or form. So that's another. There's different reasons for having the deadlines, whether it could be because we need it both in time for budget, but there's still work may still go on with it. Or whether it's.
It's like the school related stuff was tied to the,
Yeah.
school year.
So otherwise than that. Any questions?
No, that's great.
I like the reduction of text. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Policy committee.
So we had our meeting last Tuesday, had several items in the packet. So Peter and I'll go through the list first, then we can talk about the items individually. Talked about the holiday policy and agreed that Veterans Day needs to be removed. It's a closure. We originally had staff in service day, we changed that to May, so that needs to be removed from the holiday closures. The public comment policy and the resolution to adopt, so we review the public comment policy. That's in the packet we're going to review, as well as the fund balance policy that Glenn mentioned. And the record retention policy was reviewed and submitted as well. And then there's an example of the data privacy policy that's sent by an attorney that we'd like to present to the library board for review along with the current policy. And then in the future, we'll look at the PTO policy, the personnel manual, we'll make our way after that PTO. And then sometime before the end of the year, we'll be looking at the needed financial policies, including the investment policy, the interest rate risk policy, and study the credit risk policy. So should we go through the individual ones then? Policies here.
It's under new business.
Yeah, we actually have
New
them.
business, all right,
Yes, we can
okay,
do that then.
so we can handle all those things under new business. Anything else that you'd add to that?
No.
Okay.
Onto the business committee.
Building committee.
Yeah.
We just got the information from C2AE that the acoustic tile people needed, so that's getting worked on now. We'll probably have more in July. Are we
Yes.
still meeting with the people in Pontiac, or?
I'm hoping to set something up. The guy was on vacation, but like I said, it turned out the two companies, the Pontiac partition, ceiling
Yeah.
partition, as well as the Ann Arbor ceiling partition. Well, they're being sister companies.
Yeah.
So.
Excuse me?
Yeah, so, yeah. Ironically, their websites look very much identical, and when I talked to Pontiac first, guy was on vacation, still took my call, and this was after I had emailed them a while ago, finally got through. And he said, you know, hey, great, okay, when I'm back from vacation, I'll look things over, and we'll set up a site visit, et cetera, great. So then I called the other one, Ann Arbor, and eerily, the websites looked very, very close, and the hold call music was
The same, yeah.
And then when the guy's like, oh, I said, and he gave me his email, it was almost identical except for a small change to Ann Arbor versus Pontiac. And I said, I just talked to so-and-so, oh, that's our sister company. We'll probably work together or we'll just bow out and it'll be them.
Okay,
Okay, so we need another vendor quote,
I
right?
need a third, I'll have to find a third.
Yeah, because really, we're getting the same quote. They're just one company.
no, they're not a sister company of Castell.
Not as
Yeah.
Castell. but
We
they're
have
two-
Castell, and then we have, oh, you're saying that we're not,
They're-
No, but they're probably, if we
Ah.
look at open corporate, they could actually be the same company.
yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah,
All right,
So I'll reach out and see if I can find a third one.
Okay,
okay.
yeah, because we really require to, but it sounds to me like if they're that close, they're probably financially tied together and something as simple as or open corporate corporates would tell you that.
Okay,
so but that's that would be second and third, right?
They
Could we
were
have-
supposed to be 2 and 3, but now obviously they're only gonna be the second.
So are we,
Because Castell and then,
yes, so that would still give us two quotes there, then do we require?
we need at least two. I don't know if we're required to have three, although it's nice to see the numbers.
let me pull it up.
So Castell, did they do the original?
No,
No,
Okay,
yes,
that's what I
They helped
thought.
me to get the budget.
oh, okay, so
No,
they
but
did
they
the brown
didn't do-
ones and
they
they did the
didn't do
brown
the-
ones in.
They didn't do the original.
the original,
I thought
they
that was
are,
requested,
They're not the
Yeah.
original.
Okay,
yeah,
The original that you hired for the brown spray.
Yeah.
Is out of business.
okay.
okay.
It's complicated.
It is complicated. Is Castell the one that's out of Grand Rapids?
No, they're out of commerce.
We went there and had a
I've been there
visit.
for my other job.
Oh, okay,
they just changed names.
Yes, we did
Yeah,
there, yes,
they were on like Maple,
yes.
were they on,
something solution, yeah,
They were purchased by
Yeah.
a larger company, which I think is headquartered in Grand Rapids.
okay.
Okay,
I'll tell you exactly.
okay. Yeah, but it would be nice to have 3 quotes from 3 actually separate companies.
yeah.
So we have not moved forward with the building assessment sheet. Because, well, we've been busy, and number two, we're trying to find someone who'd be like a mentor to the group that has experience. We've talked about that. But we have not found someone yet.
Kind of mentor you're looking for.
Someone who knows what they're doing with buildings. You know, that would, either someone who's built buildings or, you know, I don't know that an architect keeps up with the building after they've built it. You know, but just someone to advise on the types of categories that we need to be funding for future, like the roof and the mechanicals and that kind of stuff. So maybe a project manager, or a construction person, or we had some names at one point, I thought.
Which I think, is that his name? Richard? They just moved here from up north. He managed like a winery,
Oh,
commercial building.
Hmm.
And a large, like a, out from Traverse City.
that rings a bell.
And the man's retired. And I think he was actually, I think he's, the person I'm thinking of, I could investigate a little bit more. I believe he managed a large facility for a church that had multiple buildings that was also tied to a winery and all the buildings for that winery.
Mhm.
He managed all of that before he retired.
Okay,
So, I mean, he did commercial building, so, and he may be a good. He might be a good.
mentor advisor, just
Yeah.
someone to give us some direction.
Positive, that's what he told me one day. He just moved into the area a couple years ago.
Okay,
Put it on the agenda to kind of discuss at the next building committee.
Well, yeah, what you're really
Um,
looking for,
maybe-
right? We definitely have people that live in the community that are retired. And I think having somebody that's retired would be, that's my personal opinion.
yeah.
That then would not have a possible conflict of interest,
Mhm.
right?
Okay. All right.
And possibly have more time available.
Correct,
This-
and this person I'm
This
thinking
working
of.
thing is.
No, isn't it, it's overrated, isn't it, Rich? But I'm thinking this person might be a good fit.
Okay. All righty. Anybody else know somebody, just forward it over to me or April or Carrie.
There,
And we meet second Mondays, right? Okay, so it'd be like July 9th
okay.
or 8th or 9th, I don't know.
Ninth.
9th,
Eight.
8th. All right. All righty, and then we're looking at, there's probably 5 or 6 vendors that have that you saw. But not all of them have presented, right? Just Envisionware has
It's the lockers.
Yeah.
Right.
for lockers.
Oh.
There's a book here if you want to look.
Oh,
Does anyone want to take a look?
Visually, a lot of them look the same.
okay.
I can't tell if they operate the same.
We had looked at lockers
Yeah,
some years ago. and-
Yeah.
And we had,
yeah.
We
So
have
these would be
something to go back to.
lockers, hopefully in the lobby.
yeah.
That people would have after hour access to. That's the goal.
Mhm.
And then we've also talked about there being 1 or 2 or even up to 3, depending on the cost. Under next year's budget, to have like a red box
Yeah.
for the
that would
library.
be-
And these have glass fronts so you can see what's in there. But then, we gotta have labor to drive around and stock them. And take back what people are returning and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But-
and find out who the Herrick District Library used. HERRICK.
I have it, Kim is also working with this on me and she's gathering, actually, which libraries are using what and personal, like, is this working? What's not working? So that's another binder that I'm gonna be sharing.
Yeah.
The Herrick Library, they
Yeah.
have 2 machines that they call their remote libraries, which are actually just basically vending machines. And then they have these one locker. that you can bear at the Herrick.
Is that how they service the district?
Yeah.
Is through this?
Well,
Okay.
they've got a central branch and a north branch on the north side of the river. And then
Uh-huh.
they've got where they've like done mapping on it to figure out where the population centers are, other than those 2 areas.
Mhm,
And they put those locations at those places,
okay.
basically. The idea that I understood was that they were looking for a place that was easily serviced.
Mhm.
That was public enough that it was not gonna be dangerous for someone to service something after hours, with no
Okay.
materials in there. But also for patrons to come and utilize it, they've got enough traffic, but not so much, it's like looking for a little free light, right? Like you want traffic, but you don't want it to block your driveway.
Mhm.
Got it.
So,
Mhm.
but yeah, they've
All right.
been they were actually one of the first libraries in Michigan to have more than
Mm.
one vending machine branch.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's in this year's budget as a project, so it'd be next year.
We're hoping to at least, 1 or 2 things. I think the goal that I'm kind of looking at is we're investigating both a browsing, which would be kind of like your clear, almost like a vending machine, just to kind of see what's out there. And then the other one is the whole 24/7 full pickup lockers. And so those are both things that we're investigating right now to see in time for budget, and
Mhm.
what we can budget for and what we want to budget for,
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
for next year.
Yep. And then the donor tree and the building recognition plaque. We've seen some mock-ups from Joe, our guy at 360 signs. And he's coming in with full-size mock-ups next
Yeah.
time, right? Instead of just looking at an 8 by 11 piece of paper. But that's not been scheduled. No,
That
I
comes
know
back.
summer's busy for Joe. He loves to fish, so.
Well, that's important.
Very,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this one right here, they do a logo on the front of it. That particular one.
You can do a logo and more, what I find very exciting is you can do a wrap. And
You
so
can
we
wrap
could be
'em.
Selling advertising. If we wanna partner with a certain business or
Yeah.
say, hey,
Okay. Sponsored by or,
sponsor.
so,
always very
we could, you know, change those clearly or.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get so many months for so much.
Mhm.
How do these kids know where their locker? Seriously, there's,
It's a lot of it's by app, so
Mhm.
you have your app, and then when you walk up, it opens. And then it doesn't check it out until the locker opens, which is another, you're not wasting your
Days.
time.
Yeah,
so you have, so to use, a lot of these, you'd have to have the app on
You
you.
may,
I noticed they have
and
a
they
touch screen.
integrate
mhm.
with our mobile app or, you know, that kind of thing.
But what do we do for people that don't have an app on the, that wouldn't want
Or
to
the
put an app?
ways,
Okay,
Yeah.
they wouldn't want to put an app on their phone.
it's absolutely.
Okay.
They're
And
very
then
cool looking. I thought.
some new business for the building committee is that we've met with people to update our digital sign,
So that's a.
but that's gonna be
that's the
expensive.
cost, But it
Yeah,
is very expensive.
it's
So
a,
we
it's the cost of the sign
basically
when we
Makes
pay for it the first time.
percent,
Uh-huh.
and we do have another person
Who's gonna quote?
in mind
Yeah,
to give us another quote. My only hard and fast thing that I really want to make sure of is that the software that handles the digital sign also handles our internal sign. So that's, I don't want to have our marketing person having to access, well, I'm gonna go on here to access the digital sign, I'm gonna go on here to access the internal signs. That's the one thing I really want to
does
see.
that include the signs that are
All the
behind the
digital,
desk? Okay,
everything, all the TV monitors that are in the building.
Okay.
It should be all one. It's just.
Is it today?
no,
Okay, but that. I get where you're coming from, because that makes a lot of sense, but that could possibly be cost prohibitive, whereas you still went with two vendors, you're gonna save quite a bit of money.
Maybe,
But it's interesting to look into it, but I wouldn't
Right.
want that to be if it's considerably more to go with one vendor, we wouldn't want that to be the deciding factor. The
absolutely.
ease of use for one of the employees, that we would spend much more money on it, right?
so the only other thing is that with the mobile app, we've been talking to, not we, the committee, but April and her internal group here has been talking to different people to get a mobile app for the thing.
And I brought it.
And
to-
we didn't forget your recommendation about something that did a mobile app.
Responsive design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't taken them off the list. These are just other people that just do apps. So we're looking at all of it. And then I will give it back to new business.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got a number of policies. Take them in order.
Go ahead, Eric.
Public policy 1B.
Lost my policies. How do I do that? They're all big.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the policies that we've got.
Thank you.
The ones that we have in front of us, we've got one on public participation, it should be a 1B now, so I'm guessing.
Shoot.
One B
Oh,
is,
1B
one B is
is-
holidays,
Yep,
and you're
holidays.
taking Veterans Day off as a holiday?
No,
Yeah.
oh, they're taking, I'm sorry, we're removing Veterans Day,
Yeah,
Veterans Day is no longer a
it's gonna be
holiday.
an in-service,
No,
no,
Because
in-service moved
to May.
Mhm.
to May,
So we're not gonna do.
and we're gonna be open Veterans Day.
Okay,
Did I get that right?
You did. So what happened was, and this is probably on me, when we did the library program last year for this year. I had asked you to approve moving the in-service to May and making Veterans Day just, we would be open. And so what I should have done at the same time was bring you that policy at that time, 1B, and said, okay, now we gotta correct this. And so. bring it to you.
So this is just highlighting what's there today.
Yeah, there should be another page that has the draft 2025.
So it's
That's the
taken
library
off totally.
folder that-
Closure though, right?
You're taking it off totally.
So taking it off, or are we putting an employee training day as a?
No.
No,
As
because
a closure
this,
day.
this does address holidays, it's not necessarily
Closure.
closures.
Oh,
Whereas,
it's not and it really wasn't a holiday.
Then I would have striked it through, Eric, just
Yeah.
for clearer communication and for future reference. You're taking stuff out, don't just highlight it, strike it through.
Makes sense.
All right,
So we need to,
we're removing it and moving it to May.
we actually need to vote on that, right?
1, 2, 3,
So
We're
4,
updating the policy.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 10 holidays now.
Yeah.
Then we don't have a floater
Um,
in case something opens up in the middle, like if Christmas is the middle of the week. We're not gonna float anything. There's no floater
there's no
holiday.
voting.
Well,
Okay,
So we actually have 14
yeah.
holidays. If you add each day, it's 14 holidays.
Oh, with the extra days?
Yes,
yeah.
it comes
I
to
just-
14 days, and
okay.
that's why we had that discussion last year too, that we weren't going to give 15 days of holiday.
Okay,
Thanksgiving Day and Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving Day.
mhm.
Okay. Christmas Eve.
Right.
Christmas Day.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So
Nine.
would the motion for this be
12, 13.
to
I still get 14.
strike Veterans Day from the list of holidays?
Yeah,
Under administrative policies.
and
yes.
right now, we're not gonna do anything with Juneteenth, even though it's federal holiday.
That is completely up to you.
But then I think that we would, honestly, this, what we do holiday here is sort of unheard of. An average holiday schedule is like 11 paid holidays
Okay,
for whether they're national holidays or not, and we have 14 now. I would recommend, and we said this last year, not adding another holiday.
okay,
So if we do add a Juneteenth day, then we need to. look
no,
at what
just asking about how woke we wanna be.
Because that's what the decision was that we made last year.
If
Okay,
you wanted to do that, I mean, my suggestion would be President's Day.
uh,
But that's up to
all
you.
right, we're fine.
And actually, do we really have, I don't think the board has a preference, do we?
No, that's,
I would think that
Yeah.
that might be something that you would want to take back to your staff and ask them. You know, is there a preference for if you added Juneteenth day?
Holiday in June or
Yeah,
or another holiday
Truly,
in February.
Yeah.
I just know that we
My
made-
daughter's in the Marines. And they get a 72, they get 3 days off
Mhm.
for it. And I thought, all I thought was, I know it's a federal holiday and that's why I brought it
Right,
up.
but we don't, we're not recognizing every federal holiday,
Well, true, now that we took Veterans Day off.
right?
Or with Columbus Day.
Yeah,
So, no, we don't.
okay,
no, when you look at it compared to a corporate, every
Yeah.
corporation I work for, they usually have you, if you have a floating holiday even in there, they have you pick the day after Thanksgiving or the day of Christmas Eve.
Mhm.
Is often, and we're doing Christmas Eve as well as Thanksgiving
Right,
weekend.
and that corporate holidays, our average is 10 days.
Yeah.
And we're doing 14.
Yeah, we do 11 worth that now.
We did a floating at Novi for Veterans Day, but everyone took it for the Friday after Thanksgiving because the library was closed, but it was not. You would have had to totally rearrange your schedule, so everyone wanted to take.
Yeah.
You can order it.
okay, so.
So Rich is
we
right.
Need a motion to approve the deletion of Veterans Day.
Well, I'll make a motion to remove Veterans Day from administrative policies, 1B holidays.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Next, we have updated comment policy review and resolution to adopt. Is that one M?
Yeah, it's public, it's one M,
Okay.
yes.
When,
What that is our current public participation at library board meetings. There were a few things that the attorney wanted us to change. That were Karen brought to our attention. a
I
couple
don't
months
see
ago.
them marked on here at all or added.
It's a, yeah, it's a, just
It's a
The whole
new
thing is- The
document.
whole thing's
it's
new.
be a replacement.
Yeah, it's a full replacement, but April, could you talk to the rest of the board about what those differences are?
Yeah, so. In our current policy.
Which is
we-
the top page.
Yes.
on that,
Okay,
we have in there that a limit of the public participation is limited to 30 minutes and. For the attorney, you can't do that.
but each person is still limited to 3 minutes?
Each person is still limited to 3 minutes.
Okay,
If they are speaking for a group and they signify that, then they can have 5 minutes.
And that's a decision we make
That's-
as to whether, how
that-
much time we want
is
to let
that new?
everybody.
is that?
No,
That,
like-
that is new for us,
Okay,
is stating that group, right?
But like we made up the numbers 3 minutes and that's a number we get to pick. That's not from there. And then the same thing with, if we want to allow one member to represent a group, we get to pick, as long as it's in the policy, how many minutes that would be, whether we allow 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever for somebody to,
what if 2 people from the organization?
No,
wanted
one.
to Speak, it says in here.
then
only
they
one.
each get 3 minutes.
Does it say in here that?
It's one per, it doesn't say that it doesn't say 2 people could speak, you can.
Well, it says in lieu of speaking, a person, oh, I'm sorry. Each speaker is only entitled to 1 3-minute time during the public comment period and may not split the time or give that time to another speaker.
Right, that's that's the 3 minute, but if you have it as a person representing a group, they also cannot split, they get one person to speak.
Yeah, so that's H, groups are encouraged to designate 1 or more individuals to speak on their behalf to avoid cumulative comments. However, there's no requirement to make this designation. If a speaker is speaking on more than one individual's behalf, they must state at the beginning of their comment and shall be entitled to 1 5-minute. And we could add in there. They may not split their time or give that time to another speaker. Right, Karen, because we don't,
I don't know if we have to, by the way that that's written, is they're entitled to 1 5-minute time.
they must state at each the beginning of their comment and shall be
Yeah.
entitled, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it also clears up the public comment period, meeting agendas. I like that area of it as opposed to brings a little bit more description and meat to the policy than we had before.
Yeah.
And it kind of defines this, makes it easier for us to follow. It's very defined.
So number E, if someone submits a letter to Karen, does it just go in the minutes records? You don't read it or anything?
It doesn't look like it's read anywhere.
No, it's just that.
But they are, so I believe, I don't know, that would then be posted with our minutes.
I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So people,
Because the public would be allowed.
Because it
to
says
read.
written materials submitted to the library
Yeah.
board are considered public documents.
Yeah.
They could look, if they came in and asked, but members of the public shouldn't under expect the minutes to include verbatim transcripts.
Right.
or Details.
No, that's right. Yeah, so you're right, then it wouldn't go with our minutes,
Right,
but it
but
would
it-
go in with the file along with,
With these documents.
right, exactly,
Yes,
with everything else that
Yes.
that I've written.
In I, the library board determines how the public comments will be summarized in the meeting minutes.
And I also like K, I think that's very important, that there's some decorum and it kind of tells
Yeah.
you that and what you can and can't do as far as, approaching the podium or where they stand, and so I think that's very important. And that all signs are part of it.
Yes,
One question I have about this, that I don't know is addressing, or I don't know if it needs to be, is under F where it says speakers may not breach the peace of the meeting. What, if any, repercussions are there?
that we stop them.
Right, how's it enforced? It's like great to say that, but what do we do in the event that someone does breach the peace of the meeting? Like, can we limit comment at that point? Do we
I
shut?
think we
them
just
down?
I
cut them
don't-
off,
yeah,
but Where in here does it say that the board does not engage in discourse? That they
It
just-
does,
G, it says the board has no obligation to respond.
right.
Okay,
And I thought earlier in the document.
does that mean
too-
they don't, or they're?
No, we don't.
No, I know we don't usually, but
It's basically a thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, next.
yeah.
Yeah, because
But
the
it
public,
doesn't prohibit us from responding.
but the public has no
Um,
say into our meetings,
I
so.
think it sort of does, Rich.
Yeah, it's thank you for your comments or something along that,
Okay,
and it's because. We have an agenda, the public is not part of our agenda, so if they wanted to say, hey, I really think those lockers need to be. Thank you for your, thank you,
purple,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, thank you for your
But
comments.
in G, it says that library, if a speaker includes specific questions to the board, the board has no obligation to respond. It doesn't say the library board will not respond. And I mean, there may be, and
What does that do to the 3 minutes?
Yeah.
And the thing is, if the library responds to one, then the board should be responding to everybody, and you set a poor precedence if you engage with one person because they're saying something that the board likes to hear.
yeah,
And then the next person
Yeah.
who gets up, so it's really to the library board's best interest
Not to engage.
not to engage.
And I think Karen has a very valid point.
Cause it's
So
so
in-
easy, you know,
so
like,
if-
oh my gosh, that was a terrific presentation you made, that we really want to take that into consideration. You don't want to say that, that may be something we put on agenda for an upcoming meeting because we. You know, decided that we
yeah.
did like what they said, but by saying it during their comments, then that's gonna be expected from everybody who makes a comment.
So in F, it's not that people, public should talk to each other while one is discussing, it's just that. Letting them talk encourages free and complete dialogue on library issues, is that correct?
F is,
Like someone in the audience can't say, yeah, woo, that's great, or are you stupid? No way. It's
That-
just the person presenting, and we're
That's-
just saying that by us allowing you to present, that is making it.
Mhm.
No, in fact, you have an obligation, it looks like, to, if someone does speak out of turn, you have an obligation to say that they have not been recognized.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I
Which
can do
is,
that.
it's, yes, it's 3B.
I'm just focusing on the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you look at rules of public comment, 3B.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that gets into the fact that they do need to give their name and address.
all right.
I think
Yeah,
that
we know
Eric
that.
has a really good point though, about 3F. What are the consequences if speakers, speakers may not reach the piece of the meeting? How do we?
The consequence is to me, that they're done.
and
You
they're
know,
asked.
that I'll say, you know what, this is out of bounds, you're done,
I think
Please.
We have to have,
step away.
we have to have something
Well,
that,
mute their mic like they will at the
Yep, the mic's turned off. We don't
tomorrow
have a
night.
mic, but-
Tomorrow night, they're talking about
Yeah.
muting mics when people are over their time.
you do have to have something where you're saying that this is, you can repeat what's in here.
Mhm.
And I would, have something like that ready,
Mhm.
not just have the policy in front of you. And then we have something, in how we do this that states maybe someone
What-
gets up and makes a phone call.
Why
You know,
don't
this
we
isn't a good
just
fit.
say in G that if this happens, then your time is done?
And it's something that you state at the beginning, we put the policy out there for them to read, and perhaps before they even go into public comment, before we would start public comment, we had something where we knew people were gonna say something.
Yeah.
We reiterate the key points and then say the expectations that this is what will occur, and if
Uh-huh.
not, then
You'll be removed from the meeting.
it's.
Yeah.
We have to make a
Can we
difference.
remove them from the meeting or can we just stop their time?
I would hope we would get to that point.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm just
But-
thinking about book
We,
discussion.
we can
We're looking for
ask them,
Yeah.
we can't physically remove
Right.
them. Actually, neither can the police. If we have to call the police, they can come in, they will come
It's just to
in.
manage.
But
It's
they
just-
can't, you know, somebody has to really do
Yeah.
something bad before the police
Well,
can say.
They've only got 3 minutes.
Right.
So how much can?
No,
they
but
do?
you know, if they're making a big ruckus in the back.
Yeah,
we
3 minutes
call the
can
police,
last
so
a
they
lo-
will at
an
least come
eternity.
and
I've seen 3 minutes
for
less
us.
than that.
Um,
I did a radio internship. 3 minutes, long time.
3 minutes is a long time.
Okay,
So do we need to say anything there? Speakers may not breach the peace of the meeting. If done, they'll be asked to forfeit the remainder. of the,
Uh-huh. yeah,
Do we need to say that?
I don't know if we do, I mean, because that kind of, does that kind of lock us in as to that's our only recourse? Or do
Well,
we-
and I'm more worried about the intent of not the speaker actually breaching the
No.
meeting, but someone else in the meeting breaching the piece of the meeting, that when someone else is speaking.
Yeah, that's more
And, well,
likely
and
to be
that's,
what
yeah, and that's
happens.
very clear. In B, no person in attendance may make a comment without being recognized.
Right.
That's very clear.
But I do like April's suggestion that we review this if we do in fact anticipate having people come to
Mhm.
speak on a given issue.
And to me, that would maybe is a handout.
I was just gonna say, maybe that actually, we have this in all of our packets every month. Just this one front and back sheet, so that,
And you have to have a large public up here.
because we're not gonna know when that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And we wanna make sure that we do it right.
Yeah.
I
Right,
predict it's gonna happen the first meeting in November. But that's just me.
we didn't last time.
Hmm.
Hmm. So let's hope not.
So. From the,
so are we gonna do this for everything, or is this just a lawyer recommendation?
This is
or-
more of the lawyer recommendation for someone else's policies that ours is considered inadequate. The one that we have currently.
but the format of it, if, so we would. I think we would adopt this and then. Adopt it as a replacement for.
Yeah, I don't know.
One M.
Are we required to have this
We
resolution
don't ever
page?
do that.
We've never done this,
We've
right?
done it once, it was, I forget, because we walked it
It
over
was
to
for
the,
the,
Oh, yes, but that was,
Yeah.
that was for the, right.
right, but I mean,
yeah, it came from the attorney, so.
I believe,
This is very standard for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think
Are we
like,
gonna use it just for public, or we're just gonna use it for policy statements?
This is to replace the current.
No.
Okay,
she means,
that's
are we
not-
this
just
final page.
gonna make a
Oh.
motion?
The
What is
resolution.
this? Usually we just make a motion. What's with this?
And
You know what? Make a motion to-
My personal take on it is that we continue to do it business as usual.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
and there's nothing wrong with us, there's filling this out after we've made the motion, that would just give us how many yays, how many nays, and what day it is, and I sign it and put it with the rest of the stuff. The motion would make this,
that just is kept in the record.
yeah,
It doesn't have to go anywhere.
yeah,
Okay. There's one more thing to do.
yeah.
Okay, we're at
And we can do
8:20.
that, but I would like that not to be the precedent, that we do that in
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, we don't have to do that, that's,
Okay, we have 3 more of these. It's 8:20.
So what are we gonna do with this one?
So to. We
I
so
thought we
offer a motion
motion
to
to approve it
to
as presented.
approve it as presented, and I would suggest that it says that motion includes saying it would to replace.
Current policy. whatever.
Yeah,
The current policy.
the current. One, I administrative policies, one and public participation. In library board meetings. Someone like to make that motion?
motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to have public policy for public comments at meetings as revised by the attorney, replace administrative policies 1M. And
Slow down, sorry, just.
what am I doing? Memo. It's a correction. That was the second piece of it.
It wouldn't be part of the.
Okay, you can continue talking.
Sorry.
Okay.
And that the resolution to adopt public comment policy will be
Sure.
filed. Is that what we agreed on? I'm sorry.
No, because everything gets filed,
Right.
right? So once you've made the motion and it's
You don't
replacing
have to
one,
mention the resolution.
yeah, we're not gonna mention it, yeah.
So scratch the resolution comment.
So,
So we need a second on the.
Can you read that back to? us,
yeah,
please?
okay, wait a second. So we have a motion to approve the policy for public comments at meetings as revised by the attorney to replace 1M public participation at library board meetings made by Carrie.
Sounds good.
And seconded.
Okay.
All in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
all opposed, the ayes have it.
Nice one, made by.
Two.
Sorry, let me back up.
Okay. So we go down. Okay, on to fund balance policy review.
Which I didn't, my understanding was we were gonna ask people to look this over and we weren't gonna make a decision today because this is so new. So, right, Eric, that's, and Karen, I thought that's what we decided.
Yeah, we talked about it,
Yeah.
review and approval, but we can certainly review now and take the time to, if we want to review it now and approve it now, we can, I think.
Yeah.
Or we can decide to.
So there was, as you can see, we took some things out that are marked in red. This is another standard from the Michigan Library Association that we received from our, attorney. I was able to actually find something very, almost like this identical for MLA. And if you look, the one thing that we've talked about, our fund balance isn't really for operational needs, it's for, projects. So I asked April to remove, one A. And, because we don't, and this is where this whole bond thing came into place again. 1F, we don't, do investment grade bond, we don't do bonds. So I don't know if that would be appropriate to even keep that fund balance comment in there. Okay, so, if you're looking at purpose, before we go through A through F on one, the fund balance can be used for purposes approved by the Board of Trustees, including but not limited to. I'd like to remove A, because I don't want that to be standard that we use our fund balance for operational needs. But if we're in dire straits, obviously, it can, it says including but not limited to, so we could approve fund balance being used for operational needs if we needed to. We don't issue bonds, so I think that having F in there is not appropriate. The other thing that we took out of here was there's a word in section 3, categories of fund balance, which these are all pretty standard fare for MLA. But 3E, where it says includes residual amount of not allocated to other classifications are available and expendable for library cooperative purpose. We took the word cooperative out. I think that we looked at Eric, we looked at this as like TLN is a cooperative,
Yeah.
we're part of a cooperative. Okay,
Cooperative can be interpreted 2 different ways, and either way, it doesn't apply to us.
My opinion on it is, I think it looks good as it is. I did send it to the auditor just to give it a glance over. So if you want to wait, to hear from her to see if anything, if you have anything else. I don't anticipate that she will, but if you want to be on the safe side before you do an approval on it, and wait to hear from her, we can do that.
I would prefer that, just so we don't have to revisit it.
So we don't have to do it twice.
Right.
Have to go back and,
Right, and then explain why we're redoing it twice, because
Yeah.
it would really be good to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, especially if there's another edit, she was shooting
Yes.
into it.
So this is the existing policy,
My understanding is
or is it,
the items in red would be the.
the red is the changes, but
Yeah,
this
this
is,
is the policy.
okay, so the,
This is our existing policy?
No.
No,
It's not
Could be the-
no.
No,
Okay.
it's current.
Is this our
It's-
existing policy?
Oh.
No, we don't have
We
a
don't
fund.
have
balance.
a
Okay.
It's one of
This
these.
is,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah,
this is
So-
new.
no.
Okay, so the basis for this, the original of this
It references it?
is a,
What would it-
a
is that what
draft
that
from
was?
that we put together or?
No, the attorney.
The attorney, okay, so the attorney provided this. Got it.
And if you look out on,
Okay.
if you put in fund balance, you know, on the MLA website, you're gonna find almost this identical. document.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, and that's when I realized, okay, was a template, it wasn't, it was a model,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
But it references back to this overall financial.
This will be added to our financial policy.
Right, so what
Okay.
you're,
It's
Sure.
as a one under B.
yeah, so what, okay, so let me explain that one, I don't remember if it was policy or finance committee, I brought it to vote, but basically, I think it was finance that said, okay, well, where's that, where do we think we might put that within the current financial policy? So that's why you're seeing the current financial policy in there, and with an area where I'm suggesting it could go, I looked at the whole policy. And tried to see where it made sense. I wasn't really thrilled with anywhere it was gonna go, but that was my suggestion, so. Once we adopt, we can kind of look to see, is it something that we want to fit into the current financial policy, or do we wanna make it say another addendum?
Because I was thinking, Jen, that we would do within the financial policy, the fund balance policy, the investment policy, the interest rate risk policy.
Well, that's what I thought we
Right,
talked about. doing
right,
too.
it would all go under financial policy and they would just be numbered, you know, if we had to change the numbering, we would, right?
Okay,
But it would be nice if
Like
you're
April
looking through
said,
the
I'm
policies.
not sure financial assumptions is where to put it.
no, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, nothing made sense to me.
It may just be another J or it's
Yeah.
after H, IJK
Hey, yeah,
A, B,
Perhaps.
C.
yeah,
We'll get
as
there.
financial principle. I'm just guessing.
Let's
all
bring
right.
this all back to.
But that has
Okay.
to just be
Once I-
decided, but it's easy to do.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Record retention policy.
so no action on.
Right.
We're just gonna wait till we hear from the lawyer and then find a place to.
Yeah,
add.
third retention. There we go.
This is another one we needed that we did not have.
And again, this document, it was from our attorney, correct? And it does follow MLA standard. Okay. I thought, oh, the MLA one actually has this, so, you know, we were looking this up because it says at the end, and record retention policy B, adoption of record retention schedule. To this end, the library adopts the following State of Michigan Archives and State Administration General record retention and disposal schedule. GS one is non-record material defined, it's really a long list, and GS 17 is specifically for libraries. And that those, it wouldn't make sense to print those out and put them in our policy book because they do change from time to time.
Yeah.
But they're very specific, like employee records. Employment records were,
So the
Perpetual,
third, the
right?
third point of, we're adopting any other schedule with applicability to library records.
Yeah, employee was for 40 years. Plus the,
employee was 40 years plus.
long time to keep employee records, but.
So so obviously we don't have anything right now. Is any other schedule for the applicability to library records? That standard in this document, but Rich, I don't know,
It's like,
how would we know that?
yeah,
And as I was saying, the library of Michigan is very, very good
Bless you.
about keeping us updated.
Yeah.
With anything. So
Yeah.
You need to be aware of that.
so So there would be a retention, adoption of retention. Okay, so. So we won't have any retention schedules that are unique to us. Basically, we're going to adopt what okay. What the state recommends.
Which is, for the board,
That
we
too.
really don't have anything to do, but for the staff, the administrative staff, it's going to be a considerable effort to actually, because that means all documentation has to be identified and how it's going to be handled.
Yeah,
A lot will probably actually be able to.
yeah.
Right.
So the adoption of this may. I'm a big believer in doing this. But also a big believer that could be a huge task.
Mhm.
in making it so.
Slow progression is the key to that.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to make a motion to adopt the record retention policy as presented to be added to our policy documentation book.
I will second that.
Okay, so would we have do we have a place where this would go
I'll take a look.
or? Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
But I'm not
The
voting.
ayes have it. And we're moving well smartly along.
So the next one, actually, we had requested a data privacy policy from the attorney. I'm not sure how it was misconstrued, I said data privacy. And came back with confidentiality policy. In looking at our current confidentiality policy, policy committee stated, let's bring this to the board and see what they say. So you'll see our current one, 7.4 confidential information. And what's stated there, again, it's just a little bit of a more robust version, more detailed version, obviously with it being. Just.
Isn't this supposed to cover customer information also? But
I
this
agree.
first line doesn't. Only people operating on the library. Where the record is.
Yeah, the current policy is with all library records and information relating to the library and its patrons
Yeah.
and library records.
Well, but here, the library records defined
Yeah. it's,
under D,
under
right?
one.
It's a document, record, or other method of storing info related
Okay.
on library that
Yes.
Okay,
identifies a patron, including name, address, number.
Do
They-
we
they get
include
there, they
age
just
in
took a
that
page to
for
get there.
kids?
Pardon?
they get there, they just took a page to get there.
Yes.
Do we include kids' age if they're minors?
Well, I know that we can't disclose that to a third party.
Right. So does that become? Is it a record? That what their age is?
Well, and see, I don't know exactly what the Michigan Library Privacy Act specifically says, right? But it does not list age in it.
Was this part of what you sent out?
In the packet,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just missed it. I should have read this beforehand. I mean, if your age is a non-identifying material, then we don't say anything about it under A, 2A.
The Michigan Library Privacy Act defines the library record as a document record or other method of storing information retained by a library that contains information that personally identifies a library patron, including their name, address, or telephone number, or that identifies a person as having requested or obtained specific materials from a library. Library records might include, but are not limited to, circulation records, written reference requests from patrons and others, virtual reference requests, email and live, and computer usage metadata before patron workstations are cleared out for each patron.
So basically, this is saying the library record does not include age.
Right. It's not personally identified.
That's what I was saying.
Right.
Yeah,
Which we do retain. We do retain age,
but we can't share it.
but we can't share.
Does this also talk about sharing of records in here?
Yeah, disclosure of well, this is what this is disclosure, and this, and 3 is disclosure of library records, right?
Mhm.
There is a section under C consent. Parent or legal guardian who signs to accept legal responsibility for return of his other child. Under the age of 18, or riches inflicts financial liability, so it does. I mean, it's again not with the age thing, but it does. Trust something there. This is a big one. I mean, if you want to come back to it, give it more time. Not.
And this was standard from the lawyer as well.
Yeah, let's.
Um,
Yeah, it is.
Everybody good with that? No.
Yes.
We'll continue to discuss it.
Yeah. Discussion to continue.
Okay, so now we're down to the annual library closure calendar review, and this is for TLM.
Yes.
So that's 15 vacation days.
well,
Or closure days,
closure days, because that in-service day is not a
vacation.
vacation day.
So it's 15 in service days.
They might want it as a vacation day instead of in-service. Yes.
And I just want to call your attention to it that, this year, when we had asked to move it to May, we said May 6th, but I want to make it clear that the first Monday in May. So the date for this one.
Not always May 5th.
It's not always May 5th. Yeah. It's first Monday in May.
Because you'd have to serve margaritas and chips. Because it's Cinco de Mayo.
Reconnaissance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a quick Saturday, I'm always there.
I guess my only question is, did you want to add Saturday to July 4th?
I was waiting to see if that came up. What are your thoughts? I mean, certainly scheduling gets difficult, but.
What day did you say?
Well, July 4th is on a Friday.
Mhm.
Do we want to do Saturday also, so we don't have to worry about staffing Saturday? If people wanted a long weekend, we typically grab the next day if it's a Friday. Not necessarily if it's a Monday, we don't grab Friday, but if it's Friday, we often grab Saturday.
Well, think what it said in this other one. When any of the above holidays fall on a Sunday, the libraries close the following Monday. So
Mhm.
you're saying because we're closed on, because.
I'm just thinking about staffing. It's summer,
Mhm.
it's July 4th. How many people are gonna want to come in on July 5th? Is that something we want to do?
So what would? So.
We would add Saturday as a closed day at the library.
And then where would we make that up?
I don't know that you have to. I'm just saying, do we want to?
I'm gonna hold the
Or
line on this.
get rid of
We had
pre-
made-
or
we had-
get rid
we
of
had said what
President's
it did
Day.
Last year.
It's not a holiday, it's a closed day.
Okay,
So can we do that? Do we have to pay people if we do that?
It just makes it a little bit complicated if you don't,
Mhm.
because then I would have to shift them around to a different day.
Well, then we make President's Day like a floating holiday. We use it on the years we need it and we don't on the others. So like we wouldn't do President's Day that year. We would do the
well, how would,
Saturday.
yeah, how would, so we don't have to make this decision at this moment. You could come back. and
Actually, they
say-
need this information soon. I know they always get needed earlier than we
it's-
do.
Yeah, I believe it's due by July.
We're
We're
not-
always late, we always try to get a exception, because it's always late, yeah, that's how we run this.
We just
but-
don't have a meeting. We don't
Yeah.
have a meeting before this is due.
Right,
So do you do you do a floating holiday instead? I see your point, Jen, but I
Yeah.
also see that we made an agreement, we're not adding holidays. We're not adding holidays specifically for, because everybody would be paid on that day as well. We made that decision last year that we were staying at 14 days.
Well, I don't think the in-service day is really a
The
holiday.
in-service day isn't a holiday, these are closure
These are
days.
closures.
I know.
Yeah.
These aren't, that isn't considered a holiday, people have to be here.
I
So we have a
know
holiday,
that.
so we had the holiday one at the beginning and we have the closure day one at the very end of this. So if, like, Eric was saying, there's a floating holiday, right? And I think you said that at Novi, that, the Friday after Thanksgiving was listed as, or Saturday was listed, even though it's a floating holiday, you're expected to take it. Do we want to be, so how do we do that? So basically then we're saying that,
Do you just want to do Thursday, Friday at Thanksgiving and open Saturday? I mean,
I don't know,
there's other options.
Yeah.
If we're hard on not having another day
I think if you're gonna go that route, you might as well just keep Friday
as
as
the
July
day.
4th, and
Mhm.
whoever wants to take a PB or a vacation, or by that time, if we're on one thing of time. They can take it, just as they can with Veterans Day, if they so
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah.
If you start getting into floating holidays, it's just becomes very complicated to schedule.
Well, if you make it a float, I'm thinking making a floating everybody holiday. Versus like it's your, like a personal floating, it's like, okay, so that we would say, okay, we're not gonna. Your President's Day is gonna be celebrated on July 5th this year. And you keep the you keep the same number of holidays, but you move it based on. When there's like a Friday that, people aren't wanna,
Right, so technically you're open on President's Day.
Yeah.
But they still will get that day that they can take somewhere.
yeah, so we, but then that each year we would have to say, okay, maybe, there's. President's Day is on a a Friday or Monday, and so, okay, we'll take it then, but, the next year it's. The day after.
Well, you end up having to staff those days, and if everybody wants President's Day off.
No, don't make it a floating individual holiday. A holiday that floats for everybody, so it's like that floating this year, that floating holiday is gonna be on July 5th. And we're closed that day and everybody has that day off, but sometimes it's President's Day, sometimes it's.
Yeah.
Whenever, so you don't have to essentially have a full staff, an extra, you
Yeah.
have a day where you're.
So the library controls the day it floats on.
The day, yeah, and we publish it
Mhm.
like in June of the year before, the year before,
Yeah.
because, or July, if that's what it's doing.
It's just like all the sales, the president.
Yeah,
Well,
What
do you
would
wanna,
an idea
do you
that's a
wanna
nice idea.
ask staff?
That's what
Well,
I'm
I-
thinking.
I-
she doesn't have time to ask
Yeah, I
it,
gotta
right?
go with it, so.
Yeah, because we're supposed to do this.
Rich's idea is a nice idea. We technically would say, at least on the library closures, that
We're open.
we're open on the 17th. And then we would just move it here, and we have some sort of statement on the record that states that that's why. And it's the library's floating holiday that they're.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying, but I'm glad Rich clarified.
I thought, yeah, I thought you were saying each person would have a,
No,
floating
no,
holiday.
no.
That's what I thought you were saying too.
No, I was saying that we, the library would have a floater every year. And then,
I'm good with that. I think that that's really, that then,
It's very helpful.
because then the staff can make that, you can make that decision, right? You and Amy and any, I actually think that that's a great idea.
yeah,
I do too.
So remove the President's Day holiday and make it a library designated floating holiday.
that will be on July
July
5th in 2025.
But for every year, President's Day would be
It'd be the-
gone as a
it'd be the
holiday
float-
and
well,
would be,
Maybe,
but
it
it would
is
be
a
a
holiday.
floating, so then it could be, but on our list of holidays, we have President's Day would be gone. And then it would be called a floating holiday. So some years it could be on that day,
yeah,
but we don't want to call it that because then we have to move it
Right.
every year. So if we got rid of President's Day, then the date floats. It could be President's Day one year.
Mhm.
It could fall with the
mhm,
fourth, it could fall
It
with
almost
something.
always is gonna
Good.
hit to make it,
Yeah,
when people are gonna wanna take it off anyway.
or if everything's in the middle of the week, then just have President's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
okay.
but
So
it
it does
wouldn't.
that each year.
Do we
Yeah,
have
each
to
year.
edit the holiday policy we just approved?
Why you
Yeah.
do, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we-
because
you know,
then if you had, for example, Christmas Eve was Thursday, you already get that off. If they wanted to make it a longer week, the library could, it's discretion, either have it be the 23rd or the 26th.
Or the, yeah,
Oh.
26 would be the Saturday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, for one B, you would have to remove President's Day. I don't know if you want to put. anything
President's
about
Day,
You could say
floating.
President's Day
President's Day / floating holiday.
or floating out, yeah.
Okay,
Discretional holiday.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
thank you.
you think staff would be okay with that, Amy? What do you think?
I think It would be very
Yeah.
much.
All right, I need to get out of here.
Okay, so that means we actually have to go back and, revisit the administrative policy as well.
Yeah, okay, so,
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 um,
so our motion then would be to remove President's Day and Veterans Day from the,
Veterans Day's not on here, is it?
we just removed it.
We're going-
yeah.
Policy,
Okay,
we
yeah, I
removed
striked
it.
it
So this
through.
would be then we are removing President's Day and Veterans Day. And do we actually, at that point, have to mention that there's a floating or a,
I think we
And
should.
just
should. I think we
designate
should.
President's Day as the floater holiday to be used as needed.
but then it's showing
Yeah.
us President's Day every year. Do we want to do that? Or do we want to make it gone and then have a discretionary holiday? And so would the motion be to remove President's Day and Veterans Day from the thing and replace them with one discretionary holiday?
That's fine.
Library designated.
Yeah, library does, that's good.
Yeah.
Library designated holiday.
Thank you,
So
Rich.
I will
And
amend to say I will move that we remove President's Day and Veterans Day from I administrative holidays, 1B holidays, made by me when you were the one to second it.
Second.
Thank you.
is that
And
is that overriding, the motion earlier in the?
Yeah.
yes, yeah, and replace them with one library designated holiday.
Got it.
Okay,
And
You
then
guys vote?
and we need a vote.
So all in favor?
I,
I,
All opposed? Ayes have it.
And then we go back, I'm sure it's one more time to make sure that this is clear. So President's Day would be removed off of the draft, and we would add, July 4th and.
are you leaving
Right
right
in
now?
there.
Yeah, it's
8:50.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the note that that's like the library designated.
So President's Day is off. And, July 4th and 5th. Okay, and then the 5th is that floating holiday, correct?
Oh, July 5th, yeah.
Yeah. How do we need to write this?
Well, for the purpose of TLN, you can just make Independence Day is July 4th and 5th, Friday and Saturday.
Do we have to vote on that?
We have to approve
Yeah, I think so.
the submission.
So we are what we'll be doing is approving the calendar with, what sort of,
With the following amendments. Removal of President's Day. Addition of July.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
okay, so when,
I'm making the motion for the 2025 library closures to remove President's Day as a holiday and add, July 5th, which is a Saturday after Independence Day.
and it's not a holiday, it's closure. President's Day is a closure, because this is closures.
Yes, this is holiday, this is
President's
library closures.
Day. Closure. And add. July 5th
July 5th,
as. As a closure,
yes, yep.
okay. And I can't spell closure there we go. Save my soul, my fingers wouldn't hit them. Me,
That was the motion. I'll second.
thank you,
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Rich.
Any further discussion?
seconded.
All in favor?
I,
Hi,
All opposed? The ayes have it.
big yay. Hopefully the people will enjoy their long holidays.
Okay,
And I do, really, Rich, that's excellent that you came up with that.
gotta think
very good.
inside the library or outside the box.
Because I think that that's going to give a lot of flexibility in the future.
Yeah,
Okay, so we are
oh, please,
at old
Go ahead.
business.
would you go, because it's already in there from last month.
I make a motion to close this meeting, the meeting of the White Lake Library Board of Trustees for June 26th at 8:53 p.m.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Hurry up. That's my
All in
discussion.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.